What's up everybody and welcome back to the channel. Manchester United are back in action again in the Premier League. Matchday 9 up against Brighton at Old Trafford. 5:30 p.m. kickoff tomorrow and manager is Fabian Hürzeler. So last season in the Premier League, unfortunately, at home Manchester United lost 3-1 to Brighton in January 2025. And then away from home early on in the season, Manchester United lost 2-1 in August 2024. So Brighton did take maximum points off us last season, and hopefully that doesn't happen this season. But we've not got a good record against Brighton whatsoever recently. In terms of last season under Hürzeler, Brighton finished 8th in the Premier League. They won a total of 16 games, draw 13, lost 9, scored 66 goals, conceded 59, finished with a goal difference of +7, and had a total of 61 points. So obviously they had a better season than Manchester United last season. So I think they're a decent side. They're a decent Premier League side, and we can't be kind of becoming too complacent, thinking that they're not a great side. I think they are a good side. I think they're a decent side. They were a little bit unlucky not to be coming away with European football last season by finishing 8th. But yeah, in terms of some insights, Manchester United have lost 6 of their last 7 games against Brighton, winning only 1, double the amount they'd lost against them in the first 17 league meetings. That was winning 12, drawing 2 and losing 3. Brighton have won each of their last 3 Premier League away games against Manchester United. The last side to win more consecutive league visits to Old Trafford were Manchester City between 1968 and 1972 with 5. And thanks to a 2-0 win against Sunderland and a 2-1 win against Liverpool, Manchester United have won consecutive Premier League games under Ruben Amorim for the first time. They last won 3 in a row in August 2024, while they last did so in the same season in February earlier that year with 4. Manchester United have won their last 3 Premier League home games, as many as in their previous 13 at Old Trafford, drawing 2 and losing 8. They last won more consecutively between April and August 2023 with 8, though that run was stopped by a 3-1 defeat to Brighton. And finally, Brighton have kept just 1 clean sheet in their last 20 Premier League games, a 2-0 win at Wolves in May. The Seagulls have lost just 2 of their last 13 league games, however, winning 7 and drawing 4. So in terms of some recent form for Brighton, they are coming away with a 2-1 win against Newcastle. Before that, they drew to Wolves 1-1. Before that, they did manage to beat Chelsea 3-1 at Stamford Bridge, but Chelsea did have a man sent off that game. And before that, obviously they beat Barnsley in the EFL Cup 6-0. They drew to Tottenham at home. They lost to Bournemouth, unfortunately. They did beat Manchester City earlier on the season in August, and they lost to Everton, unfortunately. And then in the first game of the season for them, they drew to Fulham. So a little bit of a mixed bag. They've had a mixed start to the season, similarly to Manchester United. Brighton currently do sit 10th in the Premier League, only 1 point behind Manchester United, and they are unbeaten in their last 4 Premier League games, winning 2 and drawing 2. Their last defeat in the Premier League came against Bournemouth on the 13th of September. So since then, they drew to Tottenham, they won to Chelsea, they drew to Wolves, and they beat Newcastle as well. So a little bit of a mixed form for Brighton. In terms of their team news, Gruder, Veltman, Mitoma are doubtful, while Webster, Hinshelwood and March are out. So how do I expect Brighton to line up? This is how I'm expecting Brighton to line up. Verbruggen in net, Weffer, Van Heck, Dunk and Kadioglu making up the 4 in defence. Baleba and Ayari making up the 2 in midfield. Then a front 3 of Minter, Rutter and Gomez. In behind Danny Welbeck playing as a striker. So in terms of how Brighton like to play, how do they like to build up play? In possession, attacking with the ball. Obviously, they are going to set up in that 4-2-3-1 formation and structured build up play from the back with coverage. Brighton routinely build from the goalkeeper and centre backs and the pivot, trusting to play out. Hürzeler emphasises the mindset. You need to have the quality, but then the courage to go. And he said, I want to play out from the back as well. This builds a foundation for their possession and transition game, positional rotation and emptying midfield lines to overload key zones. Instead of static shapes, players rotate to create numerical advantages. For example, the pivot drops, fullbacks invert or push high, attacks may overload one side. And also, number 3, vertical intent and quicker tempo in possession. Compared to the previous regime, Brighton under Hertzler have reduced possession sequence length and increased directness. Average possession sequence time is 10.47 seconds versus 13.44 under the prior coach. This means once possession is secure, they look to propel forward rather than endlessly recycle. Number 4, multiple attacking shapes, especially in the final third and wide half space exploitation. They often overload the box, use underlapping runs, exploit spaces between the fullbacks and centre back, and bring numbers into the area. The wide players, the wingers, will draw fullbacks, midfielders, and midfielders will make runs into the half spaces. Number 5, flexible formation, usage dependent on phase or opponent. Hertzler doesn't stick rigidly to one formation. For example, build-up might see a 4-2-4 or a 3-3-4. In possession, a 4-2-2 with dropping strikers might be used. Fullbacks invert, and the idea is to adapt how the opposition presses to create favourable situations. So in terms of the final third, they like to obviously they're going to use overlaps, and getting many players in the box as well. So in terms of defending without possession, they do like to have an aggressive high press and immediate counter pressing. Brighton are drilled to press immediately when possession is lost, especially in advanced positions. Press triggers are identified, then 3 to 4 players coverage quickly to regain. Number 2, compactness, control of spacing and forcing opponents wide. The defensive shape is organised so that vertical horizontal distances between the lines are tight, central areas are congested, fullbacks, wide players invert or drop to block inside passes, opponents are forced out wide. This helps reduce the time space the opponent have to progress. Number 3, high defensive line or aggressive mid-block when appropriate. When oppressing or in a higher block, they push their defensive line up, shortening the front to back distances and enabling quicker transition. The risk is that space behind can be exposed, so positional discipline is key. Number 4, swift transitions from defense to attack and from attack to defense. When possession is won, Brighton look to exploit quickly, often via vertical passes after triggering the press. When possession is lost, they attempt to counter-press immediately within seconds, preventing opponents' counterattacks. And Hertzler remarks that the 88 minutes you don't have the ball are crucial. Adaptable defensive structures and rest defense awareness. Number 5, when under pressure or defending deeper, Brighton shift into mid-block or low-block shapes. Sometimes wing-backs drop to form a back 5 or a 6. Hertzler emphasises improvement needed in rest defence, and the idea is when the team is pushing forward, players should cover and be aware of the opposition transition. So in terms of Brighton's star man, I'm going to have to say it's Danny Welbeck, of course. He's a very dangerous player in and around the box. Last season, he got 10 goals and 4 assists in the Premier League for Brighton. And this season, he has got 4 goals already. He scored 2 against Newcastle last week and also scored 2 against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge in the 3-1 win away at Chelsea. So in terms of Manchester United, though, let's speak a little bit about Manchester United. We are coming away with a really, really good win at Anfield, 2-1. Amorim, in my opinion, got his tactics spot on against Liverpool, where he made us go long and not compete against Van Dijk and Konate for the first header, but instead pick up the second ball in midfield. And he was right in selecting Mount over Sesko as well. Matheus Cunha, although I was disappointed with that decision, I would have wanted Sesko to start because I thought that we might have liked a focal point up front. But Matheus Cunha took on the centre forward duties and but did not give Virgil van Dijk and Ibrahim Konate such a reference point for them to mark. And Amorim said, if we play Ben, I think it is easier for these types of centre-backs to control our striker. So I think he was probably right in kind of playing Cunha as a false 9. And Ruben Amorim was also awarded for his positive decision to keep Amad Diallo and Bryan Mbeumo together on the right rather than opting for a more defensively minded wing back. It paid off in a little over a minute when the pair combined for the opening goal. Milos Kerkez, Liverpool summer signing from Bournemouth, has been targeted by numerous teams this season, and that appeared to have been identified as a weakness Manchester United could exploit. And Slot repeatedly referenced United's use of long balls afterwards, but I think it was a smart play at Anfield, denying Liverpool the opportunity to win the ball back high. Sen Lemens booted the ball away time and time again. In fact, the Belgian goalkeeper has the lowest pass completion of any Premier League goalkeeper to play 180 minutes this season. And Jamie Carragher also said that he was right to play that 5-4-1 formation because when United were at their worst, the team was spread out. That's when Liverpool got some chances. The team got separated when United attempted to press high, and so they were right to not to go after Liverpool and play in that 5-4-1 low block. Of course, Liverpool did have their chances as well. Cody Gakpo, who hit the frame of the goal 3 times before scoring, could have and should have scored a second. He also missed the free header at the back post in the 80-something minute as well. So Liverpool, I think we did ride our luck a little bit at Anfield, but I think we did kind of earn that luck. When you have to go, when you come to Anfield, you need that little bit of a luck to kind of come away with the win. And that was a really good win by us. And Ruben Amorim, like I said, got the tactics spot on. The victory over Liverpool means Ruben Amorim is the first striker in the last 5 years to get victories at Anfield and at the Etihad. So that's a really good start by Ruben Amorim. But yeah, in terms of United's team, that's United summarised against Liverpool. Really good win. Hopefully we can back that up against Brighton tomorrow. In terms of Manchester United team news, Martinez is still out, of course. So this is my Manchester United preferred lineup. Not necessarily how I expect Manchester United lineup. How I expect Ruben Amorim to be lining up Manchester United, but this is my lineup. Lemens, of course, keeps his spot in net. Euro, De Ligt, Shaw making up the back three. I think Euro comes in for Maguire simply because we are going to be at home a little bit, and Maguire, and to stop Brighton from counter-attacking, we need that pace that Lenny Euro has to save us from the counter-attack. So Maguire, though, this season has played pretty well so far. He is a little bit unlucky not to be in the starting 11, and an honourable mention does go to Mazraoui as well. He's not featured too much so far this season, so I wouldn't be surprised to start him, but I think Ruben Amorim really does like Matthijs De Ligt and Luke Shaw at centre-back. So, I wouldn't even be surprised if I saw Maguire in the lineup, but this is my preferred lineup, not my predicted. And then a midfield 4 of Ahmad, Casemiro, Bruno and Dogu. I think Ahmad keeps his space at the right wing-back position. He's been really good linking up with Brian and Bruno, so I think he keeps his space. Obviously, Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes in the double pivot, and then Dogu comes in at left wing-back for Dalot. I thought Dalot was poor against Liverpool. I didn't really rate him too highly. I thought he had a poor game. He gave away the ball, which led to an Isak shot, and then also before that, he did give away the ball in Liverpool's half, which led to a Liverpool counter-attack, which led to Cody Gakpo hitting the post, and that could have been, that could have gone into the back of the net, and then obviously we're going to be blaming Dalot for that goal because he did give away the ball. But yeah, so Dogu comes in for Dalot. Then finally a front three of Mbeumo, Cunha and Sesko. Want to see that front three that we signed this summer. I think Sesko comes back in because we need that focal point against Brighton, and we need that kind of number 9 in there who's going to be getting on the end of things, getting on the end of crosses and stuff like that. So Sesko comes back into the starting lineup for me. So that's my starting lineup for Manchester United. Not my predicted, but my preferred. In terms of Manchester United star man, I'm gonna have to say it's Brian Mbeumo. I think he's been our best attacker so far this season. Last season, Mbeumo scored 20 goals and provided 7 assists in the league, and so far he has come away with 2 goals, I think, or 2 or 3 goals in the league. And yeah, Brian Mbeumo, for me, he's our star man. An honourable mention does go for Bruno Fernandes. I think he is kind of performing as well, playing in that double pivot. He's showing his versatility that he can play in there, even though defensively he can be a little bit lacking. But again, against Liverpool, he didn't really put a foot wrong alongside Casemiro. Apart from when we did decide to press Liverpool a little bit, that's when the gaps started to open up in our formation and between the players and stuff, and that's when Liverpool did get a couple of chances. But hopefully that doesn't happen against Brighton. But in terms of how do you beat Brighton, Brighton. Number 1, exploit the wide channels and fullback space. Brighton often defend in compact central blocks and try to force opponents wide. United should attack the wings, get overloaded on the flanks and deliver crosses or cutbacks to exploit space behind Brighton's outside defenders. Play direct when Number 2, play direct when Brighton sit deep. When Brighton concede possession, they are dangerous through transitions and counterattacks. United can alternate between possession build-up and direct vertical balls to catch them unbalanced. Number 3, maintain concentration and defensive discipline for 90 minutes. Brighton have shown that they can defend well when pressed and strike late, especially because Manchester United have had a tendency to lose focus in the second half. Man United must avoid lapses and treat the full 90 plus minutes with intensity. Number 4, control Brighton's transitional threats. Brighton under Hertzler are very efficient when they regain possession and break quickly. Even from lower possession stats, United should cut off the supply lines in transition, deny Brighton quick passes out, force them wide and be ready for their counter press. Number 5, use set pieces and second ball battles wisely. Given Brighton's compact structure and tendency to concede moments in open play, especially if United get on the edge physically or win second balls, United should emphasize dominance in aerial or second ball duels and make set pieces count. Also, the long ball or second ball route can serve as a useful alternative when build up is congested. So that's how you beat Brighton. Let's have a look at the league table before I give my score prediction. Let's just pull up the league table right now. Let me just pull it up for you. Here's the league table. Manchester United currently sit in 9th position. Obviously, we won 2 games in a row for the first time under Ruben Amorim, winning against Sunderland at Old Trafford, and then beating Liverpool last week, which was a decent win. We do sit in 9th, so with a win, we are only 3 points away from second place Manchester City, and that's the beauty of the Premier League so early on in the season. If you can get off to a good start early on in the season, then you're gonna be set for the rest of the season. But we've had a mixed start to the season so far, but in terms of our away form, it hasn't been great apart from that win against Liverpool. But at home, we have won our last 3 games at home, so that's decent. If you have a look at our home record, we are in 6th with that only defeat coming against Arsenal on the opening day. So we've got 3 wins on the bounce at Old Trafford. So hopefully that we can make it 4 against Brighton as well. So with a win, Manchester United, we would move to 16 points, possibly breaking into the top 6. That's dependent on other results that if they were to go our way. But I think it's really important that we do back up our win against Liverpool, and then it wouldn't be, people would say it's a fluke. We've beaten Manchester City at the Etihad. People could say that's a fluke. We've beaten Liverpool at Anfield. People could say that's a fluke. But Ruben Amorim is the only manager in the last 5 seasons to do so. So hopefully we can come away with a win against Brighton at Old Trafford tomorrow. I am a little bit sceptical in terms of my score prediction. I'm going to go for a 2-0 Brighton win. It's kind of playing a little bit of reverse psychology here. Hopefully I'm wrong. Scorers, I think Danny Welbeck is going to score twice. And Ruben Amorim, for me, the jury's still out on him. The writing is on the wall and his Premier League record is still quite bad. And a home win against Sunderland and a win at Anfield doesn't necessarily change how bad his Premier League record has been. And at this moment in time, I don't want to get my hopes up too much. My sentiment is still very pessimistic. I don't have the confidence just yet to back this Manchester United side. And, against Brighton, we've come undone against them so many times. We've only won 1 in our last 7 or something like that. But hopefully they do prove me wrong. I want them to win, of course, but I am preparing myself for the worst to avoid disappointment. Anyway, hopefully I'm proven wrong, and hopefully Man United come away with all 3 points. If you enjoyed this preview, leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you after the match.